Is Mr. Torres? Oh, good morning, Mr. Torres.
No duct tape. Stand your ground. No retreat.
Sir,
Make my bond and chill you.
I'm going to ask that you be quiet.
I'm just making a request. You make it $1 million, I'm paying that, and I'm getting out.
The defendant shot her once, she went to the ground, and the defendant went to where she was, shot her twice as she laid on the ground, and that was done in front of her father.
Who gives a shit? She ain't never bought me nothing. She stole my car. Told her to give it back. Oh, they shot at me.
Sir.
Stand your ground. No retreat.
Actually, sir, based on your request, this bond's going to be $15 million.
No, billion.
Cash or surety.
Make me look good. Make me look good.
In the mid-hours of September 22, 2021, a brother would kill his sister for allowing her boyfriend to drive his car. When a 26-year-old sister took her brother's car to let her boyfriend drive it, she had no idea that this innocent choice would set the stage for a horrifying chain of events. What began as an ordinary day would quickly spiral into a nightmare neither she nor her family could ever have predicted. Cleveland Division of Police responded to a scene after receiving an emergency call about a multiple shooting at East 109th Street and Mount Carmel Road, Cleveland, Ohio. They would be met with the lifeless body of a female. She had been shot multiple times. As police scrambled for answers, they uncovered a devastating truth. The one behind her death is more chilling than anyone could have predicted. Her own brother had shot her for allowing her boyfriend to drive his car. This is the chilling story of betrayal, heartbreak, and a mother who paid the ultimate price, taken too soon by the one person who was supposed to protect her. This is the life and deaths of Willita Hill.
This is his sister on his father's side. And again, he's been sick for a long time. She states that she just wants for her family to grieve in peace. And I just couldn't imagine what she's going through. Her exact words were, "There are no words to describe a mother's loss. I can't believe that this happened."
26-year-old Willita Antoinette Hill was born on August 13, 1993, to Renita Hill and William Martin in Cleveland, Ohio. Growing up in a large blended family with 4 siblings on her father's side and 5 on her mother's, Willita's childhood was filled with both love and turbulence. Her family dynamic, while close-knit, had its share of struggles. Some of her half-siblings experienced homes marked by instability, and the challenges of a blended family could often be overwhelming. Despite these hurdles, Willita learned to cling to the love and support she could find, which shaped her into a compassionate and resilient individual. She became adept at navigating difficult situations, often playing the role of a peacemaker in her family. Despite the ups and downs, Willita remained focused on her future. She graduated from East Detroit High School on July 3, 2011, a moment that marked the beginning of her adult life. The milestone was a proud one for her, as she had worked hard to overcome the obstacles in her personal life. Willita quickly entered the workforce. She first worked as a cashier at Target and later at the Walmart Supercenter. Her vibrant personality and strong work ethic made a lasting impression on her colleagues and customers alike. She was known for her ability to make others feel valued and appreciated, always going the extra mile to brighten someone's day. Even as she brightened others' lives, her own strength would help her face any challenge. In her personal life, she found love and eventually became a mother. She gave birth to her first child on November 3, 2013. The baby arrived at 7.5 months, a challenging and frightening experience. Despite the premature birth, Willita never faltered. Over the next few years, Willita welcomed a second child on February 6, 2016, and by June 21, 2017, she had her third. Her children were her world, and she was determined to give them a stable and loving life despite the obstacles in her path. Each new addition to her family only deepened her commitment to providing them with a future filled with love, security, and opportunities. Willita's days were filled with both chaos and joy, but through it all, her focus remained unwavering, her children's happiness and well-being. But a sudden turn of events would threaten the peace she had worked so hard to create. Her relationship with her children's father began to deteriorate, and as it became more emotionally distant, Willita found herself struggling with feelings of isolation. But the real shock came when the support she once had vanished completely. The emotional support she had once relied on faded, along with the stability she had tirelessly built. Raising 3 children on her own while navigating the complexities of a broken relationship created an overwhelming sense of uncertainty. At that moment, everything she had worked for seemed to be slipping away. But despite these struggles, Willita refused to give up, always prioritizing her children's needs over her own. Heartbroken and overwhelmed, Willita turned to social media to express the frustrations of single motherhood. Her posts often reflected the stress of balancing work and family and the emotional toll of feeling unsupported. Even in her vulnerability, she remained determined not to let this setback define her. Eventually, her relationship came to an end, but Willita knew she had to stay strong for her children. But little did she know, a fresh start was just around the corner. In 2017, she found someone new who offered her the stability and love she had longed for. For the first time in years, Willita felt peace, and her family was whole once again. This new chapter in her life brought hope and renewal, and she found joy in the simple moments of family life. Willita was not only a devoted mother, but also a woman who had learned to love herself and embrace the happiness that had once felt out of reach. But just as things seemed to be falling into place, life had a way of testing her newfound peace in the most heartbreaking way. On October 23, 2019, a seemingly minor decision would set the stage for an unimaginable tragedy. On that day, Willita and her boyfriend took her brother, 32-year-old Antonio Swanson's car without permission, a decision that would have disastrous consequences. At the time, it seemed like a simple mistake, but to Antonio Swanson, it was an unforgivable act that would trigger his violent rage. Later that day, Willita and her boyfriend returned to the area near East 109th Street and Mount Carmel Road, Cleveland, Ohio, where they were confronted by Antonio. An argument quickly erupted between Willita and her brother. But what started as a verbal dispute would soon escalate into a nightmare. In a shocking act of violence, Antonio pulled out a gun and shot Willita as she stood there. But as she collapsed to the ground, Antonio didn't stop there. He walked up to her, lying defenseless on the pavement, and shot her again. The brutal execution of his sister was done without hesitation and in cold blood, leaving her lifeless on the street. But the horror didn't end there. In his explosive rage, Antonio turned the gun on Willita's boyfriend, and gunfire erupted between them. But before the situation could spiral further, Antonio fled the scene, disappearing into the night.
At this hour, we're following breaking news that happened overnight. An hours-long search for a man suspected of killing a young woman.
What up? You already know who the fuck it is, man. Yeah, yo on deck, man. Be hollering out this bitch. Get they dumb ass bus real quick. Stay with the fire on me, you already know. My clip holds 16. See, I got bullets for you that be hollering talking. Stop it.
As the hunt for Antonio intensified, the Northern Ohio Violent Fugitive Task Force and Cleveland Division of Police worked together to locate him. A U.S. Marshals Service reminder urged anyone who knew where Antonio was hiding to come forward, warning that those aiding him could face legal consequences. As the investigation unfolded, the details of the crime sent shockwaves through the community. Police worked tirelessly to piece together the events leading up to the tragic murder. Witnesses testified about Antonio's erratic behavior and violent tendencies. A disturbing online presence filled with threatening posts revealed the deep anger and instability that Antonio carried with him. Antonio had a lengthy criminal record, with offenses ranging from theft to domestic violence. He had been in and out of prison for years, showing a disturbing pattern of violence. But despite his violent history, he had repeatedly been granted bond and released from jail, raising concerns about the failures of the justice system in protecting those around him. The investigation also revealed that Antonio had completed a 3-year sentence just months before the murder for attempted intimidation and menacing by stalking. He was reportedly heard saying that he should have killed her, in reference to the woman he had previously stalked. Police soon uncovered that Antonio's violence was a pattern. It was a pattern that had been ignored and allowed to escalate, leading to the tragic murder of his own sister. Willita was building a life for her children, but what she didn't know was the danger was already growing within her own family. Her half-brother, Antonio Swanson, had always been a source of tension in the home. Though many saw him as just another relative, those who knew him understood he brought chaos, not comfort. Antonio had spent years in and out of prison, and his social media presence reflected his volatile nature. In his posts, Antonio portrayed himself as unpredictable and menacing, often sharing videos of himself armed and threatening anyone who disrespected him. In one clip, he waved a firearm and hurled slurs at the camera, promising violence. However, not all of Antonio's posts were filled with anger. Some hinted at deeper emotional struggles, with posts lamenting feelings of abandonment and neglect. Despite this, Willita, ever the peacemaker, chose to believe in his potential for change. She continued to hope for improvement, even when every reason pointed to walking away. But soon, Willita's choice to give Antonio another chance would come at a devastating cost. That afternoon began like any other, taking care of her children and running errands. But when she took the keys to Antonio's silver Pontiac Grand Prix without permission, it triggered something in him that would lead to an explosive confrontation and eventually her death. 5 days after Willita's brutal murder, the Cleveland Division of Police and the Northern Ohio Violent Fugitive Task Force finally caught up with Antonio Swanson. He was located hiding in a home on Crestwood Avenue near East 110th Street in Cleveland, Ohio. As the authorities closed in, Antonio was arrested without incident and taken into custody, facing charges that would ultimately define his future. Antonio's arrest marked the first step toward justice for Willita Hill, but it also raised many questions about the failures in the system that allowed a man with such a violent history to be free long enough to commit this heinous act. The tragic loss of his sister would set the stage for a long, complicated legal battle, but Willita's family knew that despite the pain of her death, the pursuit of justice must continue. The legal proceedings that followed Antonio Swanson's arrest were long and fraught with delays, psychological evaluations, and drawn-out hearings. Antonio, now facing a litany of charges, including aggravated murder, attempted murder, felonious assault, and weapons offenses, was set to stand trial for the cold-blooded killing of his sister, Willita Hill. Antonio's courtroom behavior mirrored his disturbing actions from that night. From the very beginning, it was clear that the man before the judge was not the same person who had once shared family ties with Willita. His frequent outbursts, mocking tone, and lack of remorse left many questioning his state of mind and whether he truly understood the gravity of his actions. Despite these unsettling signs, the legal team pressed forward, with prosecutors maintaining that the crime was not just a domestic dispute, but rather the culmination of years of unchecked violence and dysfunction within the family. The defense, however, tried to make the case that Antonio Swanson's history of mental illness and untreated trauma contributed to his violent actions. Family members who had witnessed Antonio's disturbing behavior over the years were torn between their memories of him as family and the brutal reality of what he had done. Rihanna Hill, Willita's mother, continued to stand firm in her pursuit of justice, despite the crushing grief and the daunting legal process ahead. But the trial revealed more about Antonio's violent past. Court records revealed that Antonio had been involved in numerous criminal activities, including domestic violence, stalking, and even threats of murder. These were not just distant crimes, they were recent enough to suggest that Antonio's violence had escalated over time, with each act seemingly more horrific than the last. The most chilling revelation came from reports suggesting that while in prison for his earlier crimes, Antonio had once said that he should have killed a woman he had stalked, further reinforcing the disturbing nature of his mindset. And yet, despite these clear warning signs, Antonio was repeatedly released on bond, only to commit even worse acts of violence, culminating in the murder of his sister. In the courtroom, Antonio's refusal to show any remorse for his actions or acknowledge the severity of his crime added to the tension. His defiant attitude and erratic behavior made it clear that he was unrepentant, a stark contrast to the mourning family members who sought justice for Willita's senseless death.
Hey, Mr. Swanson, how are you today?
I'm doing bad.
You doing bad?
Yeah,
Okay, do you have an attorney?
I ain't got no money.
Have you received a copy of your indictment?
No. I need it. I need a police report and everything, sir.
All right, have a seat to the side. Mr. Swanson, have you received a copy of your indictment now?
Yes, sir.
Have you had a chance to look at it?
It's ridiculous, sir.
No. The question was, did you have a chance to look
I
at
don't
it?
understand it.
Here's what we'll do. We'll assign your case to the docket of Judge Robert McClelland, and I'll have attorneys appointed to represent you, and we'll do that at the conclusion of the case, all right? You want to be heard on bond?
Yes, Judge, thank you. Kevin Filiatro on behalf of the State of Ohio. The State of Ohio requests a bond of at least $2 million for this defendant based on the heinousness of the acts that he committed in this case against his sister and his father and another individual. Thank you.
Make it 3 then. I don't care.
As the trial drew to a close, the jury was faced with the difficult task of determining Antonio's fate. Willita's children, though still too young to fully understand the gravity of the situation, were witnesses to the tragedy in more ways than one.
Is Mr. Torres? Oh, good morning, Mr. Torres.
No duct tape. Stand your ground. No retreat.
Sir,
Make my bond and chill you.
I'm going to ask that you be quiet.
I'm just making a request. You make it $1 million, I'm paying that, and I'm getting out.
Thank you. Mr. Torres.
Thank you, Your Honor. My understanding is that he is demanding, so the date will be November 7th.
November
Now,
7th?
The state will ask for a $5 million bond in this case. Not
Ain't
only
that
because of the
$5
defendant's-
billions?
The
$5
defendant's
billions.
statements in the court
That's disrespectful.
in regards to the bond and the threats to the prosecutor.
I made promises.
Those promises were also made in previous cases. The defendant was served 3 years for 2 cases, intimidation, attempted intimidation, and menacing by stalking. The menacing by stalking, for which he finished serving his sentence last June, related to the defendant stalking a 17-year-old
Bro, I'm here for murder.
student in Cleveland Heights. There is a report in that case where the defendant allegedly stated that in jail that he should have her served his time, and now he's here because of this new case where not only his 26-year-old
Who gives a shit?
sister,
She stole my car.
the defendant shot her once, she went to the ground, and the defendant went to where she was, shot her twice as she laid on the ground, and that was done in front of her father.
Who gives a shit? She ain't never bought me nothing. She stole my car. Told her to give it back. Oh, they shot at me.
Sir.
Stand your ground. No retreat.
Mr. Swanson.
They shouldn't have changed the law.
Detective Cook, is there anything that you'd like to add to what Prosecutor Torres has stated?
No, I think
Stand
you
your
covered it
ground.
pretty accurately.
Stand your ground.
Actually, sir, based on your request, this bond's going to be $15 million.
No,
Cash
billion.
or surety.
Make me look good. Make me look good.
Next case, we're going to be calling.
Having lost their mother to a violent act that should never have happened. They were left to grow up without the loving presence of a mother who had fought so hard to provide for them. After nearly 2 years of legal wrangling and courtroom drama, the trial reached an unexpected conclusion. On September 22, 2021, Antonio Swanson pled guilty to the murder of Willita Hill. His sudden decision to accept guilt was a quiet end to the otherwise tumultuous legal battle. Yet, while his plea brought a legal resolution, it could never erase the pain he had caused. His plea guilty spared the family the painful process of a lengthy trial, but it also brought no solace to those who had lost so much. Antonio's decision to plead guilty was likely influenced by the overwhelming evidence against him. Despite the finality of the plea, there was still no real closure for Willita's family. The damage had been done, and the grief of losing a daughter, sister, and mother was far from being healed. The news of Willita's death rippled throughout the Cleveland community, with her family and loved ones left in disbelief. Her mother, Rihanna Hill, was devastated. The grief she experienced is beyond words, as no parent ever expects to bury their child, let alone in such a horrific manner. She, along with Willita's children, was now forced to grapple with the emotional and financial aftermath of a tragedy that could have been prevented. Despite the heartbreaking loss, Willita's family knew one thing: they needed to honor her memory. The community rallied around them, providing support during an unimaginable time. Neighbors, friends, and family members came together to share stories of Willita's kindness and resilience, making it clear that she was much more than just a victim in this story. She was a mother, a daughter, a friend, and someone who had touched the lives of everyone she encountered.
2, 3,
I'm going no tree, I'm going to get him. Straight like that. She ain't trying to go. She ain't trying to go. She about to hang around, bro. Seriously, though. Oh, she ain't going nowhere. That's wrong. Right there. She ain't going nowhere.
The response from the broader Cleveland community echoed the deep shock and sadness over the senseless killing of a woman taken too soon by her own brother. Many felt that the entire situation could have been avoided had Antonio's previous violent acts not been ignored or brushed aside by the system. It was a painful reminder of the cost of untreated mental illness and how it can spiral out of control. On November 5, 2019, Willita Hill was laid to rest. The funeral service was held at Mount Carmel Church in Cleveland, where family, friends, and loved ones gathered to honor the life she had lived. It had been a funeral no one could have ever prepared for. The loss of Willita was more than just the loss of a family member. It was a blow to the community, a life taken by senseless violence. In a final tribute, Willita's children, though far too young to fully understand the gravity of the situation, were given a chance to say their goodbyes. As they stood at their mother's grave, they were left to navigate a world without the warmth of her presence, her guidance, and her love. Her absence would forever be felt by those who loved her most. In the aftermath of the trial, Willita's family was left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. Her children would have to face a world without the warmth of their mother's love, guidance, and presence. Her absence left an irreplaceable void, and no legal outcome could ever bring her back. The community, too, was left reeling from the shock of the tragedy and questioning how a family member could commit such an act of violence. For Willita Hill, the battle didn't stop with the conviction. She was determined to push for reforms in the legal system to prevent other families from enduring similar pain. One of the key areas of reform she advocated for
was bond reform, particularly for individuals with a history of violent behavior and mental illness. Willita's tragic death raises many questions about the state of our justice system, the challenges faced by families dealing with individuals suffering from untreated mental illness, and the ripple effects of violence within a family. Finally, the case of Willita Hill serves as a reminder of the importance of holding violent individuals accountable. Antonio's history of violence should have kept him behind bars, yet it was ignored time and again, allowing him to commit an unforgivable act. No one should ever have to endure what Willita did, and it is crucial that we stand together in the fight for justice, ensuring that the voices of victims are heard and the cycle of abuse is broken. Willita's legacy will live on in the hearts of her children, and her story will continue to inspire change, demanding accountability for those who cause harm. What do you think about it? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And if you found this story intriguing, please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.